Yo! What's going on, everybody? You're watching Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Happy Friday to everybody out there. Just a couple more hours until the weekend. We got to talk some New York Knicks basketball, though. Could a Paul George trade be on the horizon for the New York Knicks? We're going to dive into that as Brian Windhorst is reporting that the Clippers and PG are at really a disagreement when it comes to his potential contract extension and if they're going to get that done. We'll also talk about what Fred Katz reported in his article on The Athletic today, where he said that the plan is for the New York Knicks to pursue that superstar trade this offseason. We'll talk about that, and then we'll have a mailbag to close today's show. So we got 3 segments coming up. Let's dive into it. Shout out to all the real ones in the build. My guy, Peter Wynn, in the chat. What up, Peter Wynn? Always good to see you, my guy. Hope you're having a good one. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with the kids. And you know who's hanging out with the kids today is Patrick Seaman. I haven't seen this guy in a month, and he's back today, man. Good to see you. Did you unmute your mic? You forgot how to unmute your mic? Nope. Are we back? Are we there?
Oh, we're there.
We're there, baby.
We're there.
Let's ride, my man. Let's ride. It's been a while, dude. It's been a while, man.
It has.
I didn't know you had this much PTO stacked up.
I know. For some reason, I just have more PTO than everybody at the company.
It's incredible, man. It is quite incredible. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I wish I had that much PTO. Steven in the chat, Ty Man, the Buckeye, that guy, Queen's Place says, hell no. Okay, don't want Paul George. I feel you on that. Rocco Gandolfo, whatever the hell that means, says, not what we need. Nickin and Hicken. What a name. I want Bruce Brown and Andre Drummond on the roster. Buy Hartenstein. Get your money. The only way you'd be able to sign Bruce Brown is if you waive Bojan Bogdanovic. Are you better if you don't re-sign Hartenstein and Bogey and you bring in Bruce Brown and Andre Drummond? I would say the Knicks would have got worse this offseason if that were to happen.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you. I'm not the biggest Bruce Brown fan.
Me either.
Like, he had a good run with the Nuggets that won playoffs, but, I mean, besides that, it really hasn't done that much.
For me, if the Knicks want to reach that next tier of NBA teams, they got to add more talent to this roster. Like, no, we don't need any more margin guys. We don't need a Bruce Brown. We don't need anyone else that's going to help us improve on the margins.
Yeah.
You know why the Celtics are going to win the title this year, Patrick Seaman? They got the most talent in the NBA.
Yeah, by far.
And usually when you have the most talent, you win the NBA Finals.
Yep.
Knicks need to add more talent on both ends of the court. And I don't think Bruce Brown and Andre Drummond, while sacrificing Hartenstein and Bogdanovic, is the route that I want to travel on. My man Carl in the building. Shout out to the old head. What's up, man?
Wow,
Shout out, Carl. That's my guy right there. Shout out to my brother, though. Nat Oliver says, please no. Paul Ross says, terrible idea. Absolutely terrible. Paul Ross, who do you want on the New York Knicks? Angelette Lewin says, no. Paul Ross says, say no to Paul George. Logan Maz says, what would a PG-13 trade package look like? What players and picks? The only way that I would trade for Paul George is if I don't have to include one of the core 7. And I'm going to start referring to them as the core 7, and the people are the core 6 at this point. The core 6. If I can acquire Paul George while holding on to Brunson, Dante, Hart, OG, Randle, or Hartenstein, if I can hold on to those members of the core 6, I would do what I got to do to trade for Paul George. But I'm not including one of those 6 players.
I thought it would have been higher, just looking at the poll. 82%.
82% of the viewers say they do not want Paul George on this basketball team. Even if you get to keep Brunson, OG, Randle, Hart, Dante, and Brunson? Really? Derek Clark says, the Knicks my favorite team. Oh, you're going to fit in really well here, brother. That guy says Jaren Jackson sure would be nice. Yeah, he would. So would Kevin Durant and all the other great players in this league. But I'm I think the Memphis Grizzlies know that Jaren Jackson's a really good player, Patrick, and they're not going to trade him.
Yeah, and the Grizzlies have their core of Jackson, Bane, and Morant. They're going to build around that. Terrence saying, I don't know why everyone is trying to get rid of Julius. He's a beast. If you played b-ball, you would realize you don't trade a player like Julius. He's unstoppable and fits in well in New York. Stop it. I have noticed something with the fan base where it seems like everybody's kind of backing Randle now. And I almost think like him not playing in this year's playoffs almost benefited his reputation with the fans.
And look, I for one, my guy Mike G in the building. That guy hits dingers.
He hits dingers.
What I would compare the Julius Randle situation to isn't a little bit of a disclaimer. I think I want to keep Randle on this team for now. I am only going to trade Randle if I am getting someone that's a better fit or a better player. But Patrick Seaman, you know, like when you have a girlfriend and she's toxic, and then you break up and you don't speak for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And you start speaking again. You're like, oh, I miss talking to you every day. Yeah. You forget some of those toxic traits in that gap of 6 months.
Yes.
And we know that Randle is a damn good basketball player. He's a 3-time All-Star with the Knicks, 2-time All-NBA player. Yeah. But he is far from a perfect player. You could be Julius Randle's mother, and you can admit that he has struggled in the playoffs. Yeah. You can admit that he has deficiencies in his game, while also in that same breath saying he's a great player, which is what I am saying.
Yeah.
But when you don't see him play, and it's been a while, you kind of forget all of those little hiccups in his game.
You're only thinking about the positives right now.
Yep. You start talking to that girl that was toxic, you take a 6-month break, I kind of miss this a little bit. One little argument. One game where Julius Randle doesn't play hard on defense, I think his chat's going to be looking a little bit different. That's all I'm saying.
Julius Randle is like a toxic relationship. I like that.
Chuck Harris says, exactly. My man. Mike G, how we doing, bro? It's Friday? Are we hitting dingers on a Friday? Did you bring the bat to the batting cage today, Mike G? Paul Ross says, also the fact Randle hasn't played up to his regular season prowess is not totally his fault. He was not near 100%. While I do agree it's not totally his fault, he is the main one to blame for his, it's no one else's fault that he didn't play well. I think Julius Randle would admit that.
Just also, when I'm watching, the Celtics play, all 5 of them, they're all so skilled. They all can dribble, pass, just do everything. Julius Randle, I still want to see him when it's, in the conference finals, NBA finals. I think he can have a good first round of an NBA playoff run. I don't know when the competition still ramps up if he will be an effective basketball player, but he also really hasn't had that chance. And that's probably what the Knicks front office is discussing right now. It's do we bet on Julius Randle becoming a better playoff player, or do we bet on another player coming in and helping out this team more?
Yeah, look, I think everyone would agree that Randle is good at basketball.
Yes.
You don't become a 2-time All-NBA player. He was going to be an All-NBA player again this year.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it is fair to question if he is the perfect piece for this roster. I think that is more than fair. And also, I think that I want Knicks fans to start asking themselves, can we depend on him in the playoffs? And I don't mean production-wise. 2 years in a row, he wasn't able to play at the end of the season.
Yeah.
2 years in a row. If it happens again, are we then going to be concerned? Because I don't need to touch the stove to know it's hot.
Yeah.
That bitch is smoking.
If the Knicks do keep Randle, heading into the next postseason, there is nobody that's going to have a bigger microscope under, or watching him.
Are we paying Julius Randle the max after next season? Because that's what he's going to ask for. Why not? He's going to be a 3-time All-Star and a 2-time All-NBA player in 4 seasons. He's going to want the max. Are y'all paying Julius Randle the max? Because you can't say you want to keep him at all costs and then also say you're not going to pay him the max.
It's is he a confetti guy? When the Knicks finally break through and they are there, it's going to be Brunson, Hart, DiVincenzo, OG. Will Randle be there?
Luis, what's up, my man? What's up? Raymond says, we do need to trade Randle. Granted, he can score. He's still a liability on defense, and I'm not scared to say it. He's selfish on offense. That guy says, I wouldn't pay him a max if he took a pay. So now we need Randle to take a pay cut. I'd happily embrace it as the long-term second option. I love this team more than I probably should. You're not winning championships if Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle are your best two players. I'm sorry. You're not. Marcos is starting to think Oubre is a legitimate possibility for this team. I agree. I think I have Kelly Oubre as my number one mid-level exception target for the Knicks right now.
Yeah, I like him.
My man Isaac Smith in the building. High fives, baby. High fives. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mark says Randle doesn't show up in big games. That could be true. Logan says he signed with CAA, so he might just be. I don't think Julius Randle is in the camp of taking a discount. He's been on a discount the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's trying to get paid.
Joe says, I'm not sure if Oubre historically has been highly inefficient. Yeah, he struggled to shoot the ball from three, no doubt about it.
Fair.
But you're also not getting a perfect player with the mid-level exception.
Yeah.
Because if they were perfect, they'd be making more than the mid-level exception. I think also, and I just thought of this on the spot, I want Knicks fans to also start realizing that you talk about Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, Donte DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Isaiah Hartenstein. 5 players that all joined the Knicks via trade or free agency. And they all got better. They all had career years with the New York Knicks. Who's to say that Tom Thibodeau can't crack into the code of Oubre or someone else out there, and they sign someone, and then they become better, and they develop, and they grow under the tutelage of Tom Thibodeau, who has developed almost every single player on this roster. We're not looking for finished products. We're looking for guys that can get better. And 2 years from now, we look back on the contract like we're going to do for Hart, like we're going to do for Donte, like we did for Brunson, like we did for Hartenstein, like we did for Randle, saying, oh, we got them on a steal because of the development, because they continued to get better. The trajectory of their career continued to go up. You should continue to look for players like that.
And if you're looking at, look at the Celtics. They're going to be around for a while. You're going to need 2 wings on the outside of the defense. Besides OG.
You don't have anyone. You do not have a wing defender on your team outside of OG and Anunoby.
And I love Josh Hart, Donte DiVincenzo. They play their ass off, play the right way, but, defensively.
They're 6'4" and 6'3".
They don't have the size to match up with Brown and Tatum. And especially with Jaylen Brown, he is going to keep getting better. He's going to have that championship kind of swag now heading into the next season. I honestly, I bet you the Knicks are really looking at the Celtics and be like, we need another wing. We just need another guy there because OG can't guard them both.
OG went down and we had to put Josh Hart on Pascal Siakam.
And imagine if that was the Celtics, where it was Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
They need another wing that can come in and give you some athleticism.
Yeah.
Because I think the Knicks could use benefit from another guy that ups their athletic profile.
Definitely. And Oubre's long.
Oubre was the number 1 point of attack defender for the 76ers. They asked him to solely guard Jalen Brunson. Brunson cooked him. He's one of the best players in modern history on the offensive end. But, man, imagine that guy coming off your bench, and if OG gets hurt or Randle gets hurt, you throw him into the starting lineup.
Yeah.
I don't love the guy. I've known him for 10-plus years, 15 years at this point. I don't really like the guy, but he's pretty good at basketball. Levi's the best says, what player would you pick right now? I know opinions change, but right now, if you were on the clock, who would you pick right now with the 24th pick? If Tyler Kolek is on the board at 24 or 25, he's a New York Knick. If I'm the GM. I also like Tristan da Silva.
Yeah.
I don't know if he will be there. There's a lot of talk about Dunn. I don't know, man.
I would be shocked if the Knicks are picking at 24 and 25 on draft night. I would be really shocked.
Yeah. The reason I say Kolek, because he's going to be able to come in and I think produce right away.
Yeah.
For what the Knicks are going to ask him to do, which is to come in, run the offense, set the table, control the pace, control the basketball, and be a game manager while Jalen Brunson is sitting down. Yep. He could do that in year 1. But I also like the idea of adding Ryan Dunn, who can come in and in his first season be a lockdown defender on the perimeter. I worry, though, is he just Andre Roberson? And is he just Matisse Thybulle? And the offensive game is never going to come along.
Yeah.
Because you could be the best defender in the world. If you can't shoot, it's hard to play you on the wing spot in the late part of the games with Jalen Brunson on the floor as well as a center who can't shoot.
Especially in the playoffs, man. No, I like Kolek. Kolek would be a fun fit, too. Used to playing in the Garden.
I have not been able to confirm if Tyler Kolek has worked out for the New York Knicks. Have not been able to confirm that. David M., what's up, bro? Shout out to you, man. Thanks for stopping by. That guy said, I heard that Tyler Smith from the G League Ignite worked out for the Knicks. I haven't heard that. I like Tyler Smith. I think he was maybe a year away, though. I've seen some people compare him to kind of like a little Channing Frye a little bit. Look, at 24, 25, you're hoping you hit on the lottery. That's what you're hoping for. This draft isn't extremely deep with top-end talent. It's deep with role players. And I promise you, not all these role players are going to hit.
And you're kind of hoping with a lot of these guys.
Yep. Sherwin, what's up, man? He says the Knicks must use the pick in Ihart and Deuce to get a starting shooting guard, 6'6" and taller. I'm not calling Ihart a starting center. He can't stop his man. He was, I think, number 2 in DPM, defensive estimated plus minus of all centers in the NBA. So I just do not agree with you on that, my friend. NY2AZ says run it back. When you say run it back, what do you mean by that? Like you're bringing back Hartenstein, you're bringing back OG, you're picking up Bogey's $20 million option, you're going to re-sign Achiuwa, you're going to bring back Alec Burks. Like you want to run the same gang back? Is that what you are saying? When people say that, I don't know if they actually mean what they say because they don't know what's behind that curtain.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're saying run everything back, so you're cool with this being the team and the Knicks never trading for a superstar? You're cool with that? And if you are trading for a superstar, how are you going to do it? Because you're going to be a second apron team. And if you don't know the apron rules at this point, I can't help you. And you're saying yes again. Now I'm completely worried because if this is the Knicks roster for the next 3 or 4 years, they will continue to be a second-round exit at best. They have to get better. There needs to be an infusion of talent to this team. Great first year with Brunson. Love it. But you lost to the 8 seed in the second round with home court advantage. Awesome year this year. 2 seed, 50 wins. You battled with adversity every single step of the way. Yeah. But once again, you lost at home to a 7 seed or whatever the Indiana Pacers were.
And it's also like, I think Knicks fans are just thinking like, oh, Boston's the only team we got to get by now. Like, that's the team. Like,
you got to beat Philly again.
Milwaukee is going to be better. They will be better than where they were last year. Philly has the most cap space in the NBA. They're going to bring in a third star and be a whole lot better. And Maxi's going to get better, heading into next season.
Magic are up and coming.
Magic. Like, what if they go get Clay? Like, they're going to be a tougher out. Who knows if Cleveland...
Teams that stay the same get worse.
Yeah. Look at the Denver Nuggets. Like, they're a good example. They thought they could just run it back, and they're still a hell of a basketball team. But
that guy, do I think Milwaukee is on the rise? No, but with a healthy Giannis, they're going to be tough for anybody to beat.
Yeah.
Like, if Giannis is healthy, that's going to be a hell of a team to go in the playoffs. Like, it just is.
You don't want to play him.
He would be arguably the best player in that series, and you don't ever really want to not have the best player. Owen says, telling you guys, Vanderbilt, is he a free agent? I don't think so.
No, he's not a free agent.
Yeah, Jared Vanderbilt's not a free agent.
I don't think the Knicks,
So we're trading Bogey and 2 first-round picks for Vanderbilt and Rui? Why would the Lakers say yes to that? To make a trade, you got to make the other team want it to happen as well.
Yeah, I don't think the Lakers would like that.
Lakers are trying to win now, not add a 40-year-old Bogey in future picks. John Whitespot coming in with the first super chat of the day. John, we appreciate you, man. First-time super chatter, too. We appreciate you for being a real one. Says, sign DeRozan, trade Mitch, and drop Bogey. The only way the New York Knicks will be able to sign DeMar DeRozan is if he cuts his price point in half and accepts a deal that starts in the first year at $12.9 million. That is not happening. Yeah. So the only way you can add DeMar DeRozan is if you trade for him. And I just don't know how possible that is.
Yeah. DeMar's tricky for the Knicks. It's because you would want him to come off the bench and run that second unit. Because I still think DiVincenzo would be a better fit next to Brunson just because of shooting ability, but DeRozan would be pretty sweet off the bench. It's just going to come down if he wants to embrace that role.
Yeah, I know there's some people that don't believe that DeRozan would be a good fit, and you see the obvious reasons why. He's aging, going to be expensive. You're going to have to give up some rotation players and probably a pick for him, and he doesn't shoot the outside shot that well. And I worry about a team that features DeRozan, Randle, and a center on the floor all at the same time, who are all by NBA standards below average three-point shooters. You watch the Celtics, everybody that plays can shoot.
Yeah.
You watch the Mavs. Like, they don't have enough shooters, and that's why they're getting blown out right now. I don't know. I think DeRozan will be cool. I also think it'd be cool if I was 7 feet tall. It ain't happening. He's not taking a discount. And I don't think he's ready to be a bench guy in this league.
No,
I think he still thinks he can produce. I don't know. My guy D Nice in the building. What's up, man?
D Nice.
Going after Lauri Markkanen. The only way I'm trading for Lauri is if he's my starting power forward.
You're moving off Randle then.
And then you got to move off Randle. And I don't think that I'm adding the pick package that Utah would want to make that trade. Like, I think Randle is better than Lauri. I think Lauri may be a better fit on this roster, but am I willing to add 2, 3 first-round picks to Julius Randle to add Lauri? No, I'm not.
Like, is Lauri the move where it's like, this is it? The Knicks are going to compete for a championship. I don't know.
My guy Jay Boogie in the building. Shout out to a legend. What's up, Jay Boogie? He says, I'm going to say this from my heart. One is orange and the other is blue. This is the hardest working show to this offseason. 2 and sometimes 3 times a day we get alerted with Knicks news. Thank you. Salute, Jay Boogie. 3 capital S's. That's my guy. He's been showing love to this show for a long, long time. Man, that was a fun summer when we did Donovan Mitchell updates all the time. Jay Boogie, salute to you. He makes awesome music, man. Check him out. Jay Boogie, always been good to me. That's my guy for real. We appreciate you, bro. NY2AZ coming in with a super chat. What's up? Says, well, thank you for the super chat first and foremost. We really, really appreciate it. Says, run it back. We have enough talent, barring injuries. We can look for a superstar the following season if it doesn't work out.
I don't know if they do have enough talent.
I agree. I think that the Knicks, if healthy, would have given the Boston Celtics the best run for their money, but
Definitely.
Still, I don't think that it's just written in ink that they were going to win that series.
No.
And also, the fact that that's not fair to say. The fact that the Celtics are going to win the NBA Finals with Kristaps Porzingis playing 6 playoff games this year is incredible.
It's incredible.
Like, they're not even at full strength right now.
Yeah.
And I also want to reiterate it. If you run it back, you are making it almost impossible on yourself to trade for a superstar. Because if you are a second apron team, you can only trade 1 for 1. You can't aggregate contracts. I've done 10 videos on it. I hope you people, I hope everybody watching are educated on the subject. It's not the old CBA. It's not the old way of doing things. There's a new playbook. And the New York Knicks, if they run it back, they are going to cripple themselves when it comes to continuously adding talent and potentially a superstar down the line.
So let's just say at the trade deadline next year.
Yep. If you run it back, you pay OG, you pay Hartenstein, you bring back Bogey, you pay Achiuwa, you bring back Burks. You're a second apron team.
So let's just say they're trying to make a trade at the deadline, and it can only be player for player. It can't be 2 for 1.
So if I am trading for a player that makes $50 million, which most all superstars are going to be making, I'll just use it as a round number.
Yeah.
I can't pair a $25 million player and a $25 million player to get to 50 to trade for that one player. I have to trade a $50 million player for a $50 million player. What player are the Knicks trading that makes a lot of salary? Not Brunson, not OG. The only one is Randle. And Randle right now is actually on a contract that wouldn't even really work when trying to trade for a star because this season, Julius Randle is making $28 million. You're not getting an ideal superstar for $28 million. I'm done living in La La Land. We got to be real about ourselves. The aprons are here. The new NBA is here. There's other awesome pages out there. Bobby Marks went on Knicks Film School. Watch it. He breaks it down. Cap or no cap with Knicks or Knicks Fan TV. I'm sorry, CP the Franchise. I think I said that the first time. I don't know. I may have misspoke. Bobby Marks went on Knicks Fan TV. Check it out. He's more plugged in with the salary cap, Bobby Marks, than anybody. Jonathan Macri and Jeremy Cohen at Knicks Film School, they've broke it down. I've broke it down. Please, just educate yourselves. Because when we think of Knicks fans, what do we think of? The smartest fan base in the world. Let's continue to uphold that reputation. Mike G, back in the building. We're not living in La La Land. You can't hit dingers in La La Land, baby. You can't hit dingers.
Guy's a stud.
Nah, you're a stud, brother. You're a stud. King James says, I think a shot is needed. A shot of what? Yeah, no. Knicks. Hey, man, there's a bunch of awesome Knicks YouTube channels out there. They all do a really, really good job. We're going to get to a mailbag coming up in about 40 minutes or so. If you want to be featured on our mailbag, just comment down below and use the hashtag Knicks. That way, producer Seeps can pop it up on screen and use our software. And if you super chat, you're guaranteed to get on the show, and we're going to answer that question at length for you. Shout out to all 170 people watching. What are you saying? I can't hear you in my ear for some reason.
So Mike G, you're too kind.
Or you say, Seeps, you're a stud too. Don't forget that. Mike G, he'll be a stud until week 1 when he's saying F the Giants and go Vikes. D Nice showing love to Seeps as well.
D-Nice.
That's our guy right there.
That is our guy.
My man D Nice has been walking like 20,000 steps a day.
He sends me a lot of funny stuff on Instagram.
He's in his bag. He's in his bag.
F Minnesota, Mike G. Jeez.
F Minnesota. Exactly.
Nicking and hicking, saying Cam Thomas. That would be a mistake.
Cam Thomas. We're not the New York Knicks that are trying to get into the play-in. We're the New York Knicks trying to win a championship. Ask yourself, does Cam Thomas make the Knicks championship contenders? The answer is fuck no.
Yeah, not a chance.
Carl says, yo, Marsh, can Randle and picks get us Lauri? Potentially.
I think you would need to include 3.
And it's like, is that worth it?
Because if you include 24 and 25, I don't think the Jazz are looking at those and being like, yeah, we're moving off Lauri for that. Like, I think they would want, like, the unprotected picks where it's like 2027, 2029 or something.
That's good stuff, D. Nice.
Wow.
Proud of you, bro. Keep on going. That's awesome, bro. NY2AZ, appreciate you. Wasn't coming at you. You were just a super chat that went up there. Well, one, thank you for that. I just went up there and I had to go on my little bit of a tangent. Because I'm not saying it's you. I'm just tired of people acting as if, like, if you run it back, you're still going to be the most flexible team in the league. You're just not.
Yeah.
You're just not. And I want people to know that. And that's why I do this show, to inform and entertain. All righty, first segment of the day. Brian Windhorst believes, or doesn't believe, he's reporting that PG and the Clippers are not on the same page. So let's talk about it.
Hold on. CM. We'll answer that real quick.
CM. Straight shooters hit dingers, baby. Especially the straight shooters of the steroids. Mike G, should steroids be allowed in the MLB?
100%.
Question to you. It should be yes. Baseball was never better when Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, Gary Sheffield were juicing up and hitting 60, 70 dingers a year.
Also let the pitchers use spider tack. Just everything goes.
Yes, I want to see peak performance from athletes.
Yes. I'm with it.
CM67, thank you for the super chat. Says, get Kuzma, trade Randle, etc. for Paul George. You're getting spicy with it.
Get Kuzma.
So we're getting Kuzma. How are we getting Kuzma? Bogey and picks? They probably want an expiring salary and picks. Sure. That's probably what I would want if I was Washington. And then you're trading Randle for Paul George. Are you starting Kuzma at the 4? So your starting lineup is Hartenstein, Kuzma, OG, Paul George, and Brunson with Dante and Hart coming off the bench?
Again, is that – I feel like
is that winning the title?
I don't think so. I don't think that's beating Boston. Now, that trade is good for matching up with Boston, I will say. That would be you would have 3 really big wings you could deploy on them. I don't know. It's like the Knicks are in such an interesting spot.
Is Kuzma a starter on a championship-winning team if it's not prime LeBron James and prime Anthony Davis? And did he even start on that team? I don't remember.
I don't know. Is Kuz a good 4th best player on your team?
I don't think so.
I don't know if he is.
I don't know. Look, I think this is the most important offseason of Leon Rose's tenure as the New York Knicks decision maker.
100%.
The decisions he makes this summer will dictate which road the Knicks go down.
Yeah.
I truly do believe that. Yeah, you got to use steroids, dude. No one wants to. Baseball is. I will say, the pitch clock is one of the best things that ever happened in the MLB.
Great.
You go to a game and you're out in 2.5 hours, it's sick.
It's awesome.
All righty.
Imagine Aaron Judge roided up.
Oh, my gosh. Imagine Judge and Soto roided up. This team would be unbelievable.
Garrett Cole can go back to use the attack.
What's up? Get on my level. What's up, bro? What up? 155 people watching. If you could, please hit that thumbs up icon. Only 34 likes. That makes me want to throw up and end the stream. So please hit the thumbs up icon. Let's get to 69 likes or something. I think that'd be a pretty cool number. If you've liked the video, give me a me down in the comment section, and let's talk these latest Paul George rumors. Could the Los Angeles Clippers be looking to trade Paul George? We're going to break that down on today's show as Brian Windhorst of ESPN is reporting that Paul George and the Clippers are not on the same page when it comes to a potential contract extension. Before I give you my thoughts and ideas on PG being a New York Knick, I want to hear from you in the comments section. Do you want Paul George on the New York Knicks? If it meant you got to keep Randle, keep that in mind. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Welcome into Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I am Marshall Green. Let's talk about it. First off, Paul George is always going to be a trade target for the New York Knicks because he is blooded in. He is a part of the CAA Mafia. And if you're represented by CAA, you are going to be a player of interest for Leon Rose, Worldwide West, and the New York Knicks. First and foremost, when it comes to Paul George, I think when you strictly talk on the hardwood, the fit, what the product would look like if you had a starting lineup of Brunson, Paul George, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, and Isaiah Hartenstein, Paul George is almost an ideal fit when it comes to roster construction-wise and just flow and being able to mesh with his teammates. He's 6'9". He can defend 1s, 2s, 3s, and some 4s. He will take a step back and let other players be the star of the show. We saw that when he was a part of the Oklahoma City Thunder, playing alongside Russell Westbrook. We've seen that with the Los Angeles Clippers, playing alongside Kawhi Leonard, even James Harden, and to somewhat of a degree of Russell Westbrook. And the guy, last year, had one of his better seasons of his career. He played in 74 games. He missed just 8 regular season games. So has he shook that injury-rattled bug that a lot of people connect with his name? Gave you over 22 points last year, giving you 5 rebounds. He could dish it almost like a point guard at times at 3.5 assists. And he was efficient, man. 47+% from the deck and north of 41% from threes. And when you go even deeper into the numbers, you see things that stand out that I think would be major additions to this roster. When you talk about what the Knicks need, it's another guy that can spot up on the perimeter and knock down catch and shoot threes with Brunson and Randle demanding double teams. Paul George does that at one of the better clips in the NBA. He knocks down catch and shoot threes at 45.4% on 4.5 attempts per game. And then when the shot clock's going down or coming off a pick and roll, he can get to his spot and rise up and create a quality look from distance. On pull-up threes, he's knocking it down on almost 36%. He could still get downhill and operate in that mid-range game. He's got that nice smooth step back. He's knocking his pull-up twos down at 45%. He's still really good at attacking the rim, converting at almost a 58% clip on less than 10 feet from the basket, and he is still one of the better defenders in this league. He averaged this year 3 deflections per game. That was tied for 6th across all of the players in the NBA. And I truly do believe that if injuries are off and that if everybody is healthy and your top 7 players include Jalen Brunson, Paul George, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein, with Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart coming off the bench. If that is your top 7, you are contenders to win not one, but maybe a couple of NBA finals. And we know the New York Knicks have at least had somewhat of a little bit of interest in Paul George. Remember last year, the New York Knicks made offers for Paul George. Remember this quote from Alan Hahn, what he said on Get Up on ESPN last year? This quote is from last year. They had a chance to get Paul George. They said it was too expensive. They don't want to do it. They've already backed out of that. They talked to the Clippers. The Clippers gave what it would cost. Then Paul George said, but I want an extension. And then they said, we're not doing that. And they walked away. So Paul George, as far as now goes, it's off the table. And that's why I just want to get it out there. I'm not sure how realistic that it is now for the New York Knicks to trade for Paul George. And there are multiple reasons why. Fred Katz of The Athletic says this: the Knicks have kicked George's name around before, according to league sources, but they never seriously pursued him in a deal. Why? Because a Paul George trade has some major risk. All of the things I said before make him an attractive trade target for me. He can defend, he can handle, he can score, and he's one of the better catch and shoot players in this league. And he's still damn good. But on the opposite side of the spectrum, he's looking for a max extension. He wants to get paid one more time before he hangs up the sneaks. And he's 34 years old. Like, Father Time at some point is going to win. And there's been a little bit of decrease of athleticism and things of that nature. I still think he's a good player, and I still think he has a couple good years in front of him. But is he going to continue to be an all-world defender at 36, at 37? On top of that, outside of this year, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. He averaged just 47 games played from the 2019 season to the 2022 season. So from 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022, in those 4 seasons prior to this year when he played 74 games, he averaged just 47 games played. And the thing that upsets me the most with him, this felt like the postseason where he could put all that playoff P nonsense to bed, where he could have stepped up to the plate and hit a dinger like my guy Mike G. But he didn't. Kawhi Leonard was hurt. The Clippers looked at him and said, yo, Paul George, we need you. And he said, all right, I got you 19 points per game on 41% from the field. Not good enough. What does that tell me? He can't be a 1A option anymore. But what if he's your third best player? Or what if he's your fourth best player? Could that make some sense? I think it does. But overall, it is just not feasible, really, for the New York Knicks to trade for Paul George. Fred Katz of The Athletic did a great job of breaking it down, saying because the Clippers are so expensive and above the second apron, new rules prevent them from signing and trading him. New York's only avenue to acquiring George would be for him to opt in to his $48.8 million player option for 2024 and 2025, then have the Clippers work out a trade. Look, if the Knicks can trade for Paul George without giving up any of the core six, they would win an NBA championship. I truly do believe that. If you could find a way to not include Brunson or Randle or Hartenstein or OG or Dante or Josh Hart, you got a legit shot to do it. But at the end of the day, it's got to be possible. And it's got to be realistic. And I just don't see how that's possible for the multiple reasons that we brought up. And I think that this, I hope that this puts a bow and just an answer for you out there of how detrimental being a second apron team is when it comes to long-term team building. I hope this puts that on your radar. The Knicks, if everybody's healthy, could win a championship with Paul George. I don't see the trade happening. So there's that on that, because you always ask me. Everyone watching always ask me, Marsh, what about PG? What about PG? Well, that's what Windhorse said, and that's what I had to say. Make sure you are following me on social media. We could talk more about it. Hit me up at @MarshallGreen_.
It's also like Paul George won't happen because if he's going to be the third best player, you
can't pay him $48 million.
You can't pay him $48 million. I think with this new CBA, like the Celtics, I think people are looking at Boston like, oh, they got 5 players that are all elite that should be making $30+ million. Boston kind of got lucky with how they set up their team this year, and they won't be able to keep that core beyond next season. I think you got to start looking at guys where it's like, you got your 1-2, who's the best, third option you can get in the league at $30 million or however much it is. And then you go to the fourth where it's like this guy, who's the best guy at $20 million you can get. And then fill it in between.
If you're going to win NBA championships, you need multiple players to outperform their contracts.
Yes, that's a great point.
You have to. You have to.
This new CBA, dude, I didn't know that. If you're a second apron team, you can't match.
You can't sign a trade.
That's incredible.
I think the NBA thought they were doing something with that, but I think now they're realizing we are taking a lot of the juice away, which is the NBA offseason.
Which is always the most fun part, some could argue, of the NBA.
I don't think they needed to go to these extremes for it to be such a parity-filled league. We've had a lot of parity in the last 7 years. We're going to have 7 straight different champions.
Yeah, or 6.
6?
Yeah, six straight different champions this year.
And I don't know. I think they thought they were cooking some with that. They didn't cook shit.
Yeah.
They didn't cook. I think they somewhat ruined it. I really do. I really do.
Yeah, and then the Nets report today about them not trading Bridges.
Yeah, a report came out. I mean, I don't know how true it is that they're not going to trade Mikal Bridges. I don't know, man. I don't know. There could be a report that says the Knicks are targeting this summer as the time to make the trade for the next star. But, man, I can't buy something that's not available for purchase.
No.
That's the problem the Knicks have with the way that they've chosen to go.
Even if you go in on a guy like Brandon Ingram, how much is he going to be making per year on his next deal? He's probably going to be getting I would assume 35 at least per season. I just can't really think of another big name for the Knicks that's likely to be dealt. I think most likely would be Ingram, though.
Then you got to think about it, though. Are we going to sit on our hands and handcuff our ability to make moves in the summer because we didn't want to make the trade for the perfect player?
Yeah.
PK Sports don't need another star. They absolutely need another star. Are you watching the finals? Are you watching? How can you watch the finals and say the Knicks don't need another star? I don't know. Maybe my goals are different. I'm trying to put banners up at the top of MSG. I'm not trying to lose in the second round with home court advantage anymore. That's just me, though.
So you look at like some of these teams in the West, like the Thunder are going to be significantly better next season. Timberwolves, they're going to be better. Like you got a lot of these teams are going to make drastic improvements this summer, and if the Knicks do run it back, it would be a loss of an offseason. Like it would be.
Also, the idea that the 04 Pistons had no stars is dumb as hell. Ben Wallace is a Hall of Famer. Rasheed Wallace is one of the better players in the NBA. Tayshaun Prince, one of the better defenders. Rip Hamilton is one of the best off-ball movers and mid-range shooters. Yeah. And Chauncey Billups, I don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame. He probably should be.
And that was the one.
And that was 2004.
That was 20 years ago.
That's a joke.
The Thunder get Claxton.
It's going to be a very, very interesting offseason. Very, very interesting offseason. We got a live mailbag coming up. If you haven't yet, get your questions in the comments section. Just use the hashtag Knicks. That way producer Seeps. Ben Wallace a star? Yeah, I'd say the guy that has, 4 or 5 Defensive Player of the Years is a star?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably say so. How old are you?
24.
No, the guy asking the question. How old are you? It's weird. I didn't know if you made the Hall of Fame, you weren't a star. Because Ben Wallace is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So did you watch him? You're 29. You should have watched him. He's in the Hall of Fame. Is he not a star? He's in the Hall of Fame.
That was a great Pistons team, too, man. Great Pistons team.
Like, how can you say someone's not a star? He's in the Hall of Fame. Oh, and Chauncey Billups. So you had 2 Hall of Famers, but no stars. Wake the hell up. Come on.
I mean, maybe they didn't have a superstar.
I'd say having a starting lineup with 2 Hall of Famers, you have a lot of fucking talent.
Yeah. And that was, again, the only team in the last 20 years to not have, like, a superstar on their team and win it.
Chauncey Billups, 5-time All-Star.
Rip Hamilton.
Ben Wallace, 4-time All-Star. Rasheed Wallace, 4-time All-Star. Pistons had no stars, though. Is that the worst take of all time that, like, casual fans say? I'm not trying to pick on this guy right here.
Yeah.
Everyone says that. You had 2 players in the Hall of Fame, and you got 3 players in your starting lineup that have more than 4 All-Star appearances.
Like, did they have a LeBron-level player? No. But they were a stacked team. Didn't they beat the Kobe?
Yep.
Yeah, they beat him in 5, I think. What's up, Eula? How you doing? And also, like, if we're being honest about Jalen Brunson, you're going to need to have a completely stacked team around him to win a championship. He's not going to be, he's not the guy where he's going to carry, like, a team like LeBron or, even Curry has had a tough time carrying teams. Like, just as a guard, you're going to need to have just a loaded teams around him with other stars.
You're probably going to need someone better than Jalen Brunson to win championships. And that's okay. It's okay. Or someone just as good. Or 2 players just as good. S teacher planner. Stacks in the building. K, B, G, B, F, Eula. My man David Taylor. What's up, man? This is why I say we need to trade for Spida and bring in Oubre. I don't want Donovan Mitchell on my team. I'd rather have Donte DiVincenzo at $10 million than Donovan Mitchell making 40.
That's a great point.
And then, I'm also handicapping myself as the defensive team if I add Donovan Mitchell. How are the Knicks stacking up with the starting five of the Boston Celtics with Jalen Brunson, 6'1", Donovan Mitchell, 6'1", Josh Hart, 6'4", Donte DiVincenzo, 6'4"? You're too small.
Yeah. I'm actually thinking Oubre might start being like a must signing this offseason. Just to help match up with Boston. OG's going to need some help.
I'm going to go a little cheaper route, maybe a little Najee Marshall.
Najee, shout out. Patrick Williams.
I think he's going to be too expensive. We've done multiple MLE videos, mid-level exception players. Maybe Derek Jones Jr. off the bench, but I'm not in love with him as a player.
Yeah.
I would take Royce O'Neal over Derek Jones Jr. I actually am interested in Royce O'Neal.
Yeah.
6'6", 3-and-D player, shoots 40% from three, can guard 4 positions. I like Royce O'Neal.
Dorian Finney-Smith, great choice.
Yeah, if you could trade for Dorian, I'd be cool with that. I don't know how that's possible, but can we trade for Trey Murphy? Yes. Are the Pelicans trading Trey Murphy? No. That would be like saying the Pelicans asking us, yo, are they trading Josh Hart?
Yeah. It's like one of those guys. He is more untouchable than I think than Zion and Ingram.
We talked about Tobias Harris. I think if you can get him to come off the bench, sure. But I also think that he may be a little bit too expensive for what we have to offer. All righty, you guys are asking a lot of questions. Just include hashtag Knicks in your comment. That way, producer Seeps can pop it up on screen. Let's talk about this report from Fred Katz. If you could, please hit that thumbs up icon for us. 160 people watching. Only 63 likes, though. Unacceptable. David says, I'd like to trade for Marcus Smart. I don't think the Grizzlies are trading him. I do like Marcus Smart, though. I just don't think the Grizzlies are trading them.
I think they're going to try to run it back with that core.
They're going to try 1 year with the group that they built.
Yeah, they're not going to make any moves.
Jake, I also want to be a Knick. Jake.
Straight for Ben Simmons? I wouldn't hate Ben Simmons.
Shut the hell up.
I'm not going to lie. I'm like $10 million. I don't know what
he's making like a max.
For only 1 more year, I think.
The dude doesn't hoop. He legitimately doesn't play basketball.
Yeah, he's got a $40 million cap hit.
Dune Joe, what's up, bro? Yeah, J-Dub would be nice, but he ain't getting traded, Stacks. He ain't getting traded.
Yeah.
Mo Bamba as a stretch 5. Is he a free agent? I don't think so. I don't remember seeing his name in all the lists I've been looking at.
Jalen Smith?
I've talked about Jalen Smith. I don't hate him coming off the bench if you lose Hartenstein. Or if you trade Mitch, I don't mind Jalen Smith as all. He shot like 40% from 3 this year on like 2 or 3 attempts per game. Shot block a little bit too. John Wall. Hey. Shout out John Wall.
Imagine if Emmanuel quickly comes back.
Oh, wait. No, I got one even better for you. Obi Toppin. I say we trade for Quentin Grimes, sign Obi and IQ, and find a way to get RJ Barrett back. Y'all cool with that? Y'all think that'll do it?
Let's get Cam Reddish back, too.
Cuff. If this team had Cam Reddish, they might go 82-0.
Eula, I love the question. If you could get the hashtag on the Knicks, I'll definitely include that. We were actually talking about that.
Eula, make sure it's number sign and then Knicks. No spaces.
That's a good one.
I like that one. Logan, are you serious? I don't know if he's trolling me.
This current team make us a chance. No, he's not.
Oh, no!
No.
Oh. John Wall, the fact that John Wall and Boogie Cousins didn't win a national championship is crazy.
Yeah. Didn't they have somebody else?
I think they did. Like another pro.
No, this Kentucky team was stacked.
Was it that Patrick Peterson?
Patrick Peterson, Eric Bledsoe.
Oh. Wait, was his name Patrick Peterson or?
Yeah, Patrick Peterson. Or Patterson.
Patrick Patterson.
Yeah,
he was a nice little
he was for the
stretch 4 coming before it happened.
Yeah. John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins. We're all right. Broadway Barrett, baby.
Oh, Dune Joe. Yeah, I would love to have. Like, I was totally BSing about Toppin and Reddish and Barrett.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to have Quickly back.
Yeah, that would be sick.
That's not happening.
No.
You want to come sign the mid-level exception quickly?
We'll
We'll give you 4 for 55 IQ. You in? You in? How much do you think he's going to get paid?
400.
Is he a Raptor?
Yeah. Or
if I'm Spurs, I'd throw him a little bag.
If
I'm the Spurs, I'd throw Quickly a little bag.
I would honestly go up to 4 for 120.
I kind of like him as a point guard with Wemby.
I do too. And I use this comparison when we're talking about Spurs. They're going to try to take advantage of the Wemby rookie contract.
Yes.
Like how teams use the NFL quarterback rookie contract.
Yep.
Because he's already going to be a top 12 guy in the league next year.
All righty. Let's talk about this report from Fred Katz of The Athletic. Is now the time for the New York Knicks to push their chips into the center of the table and make a big-time trade? Fred Katz of The Athletic reporting that the Knicks are targeting this summer as the time to make the trade for the next star. But he also followed it up by saying, if no one worthwhile presents himself, then they will turn their eyes to the 2025 trade deadline. You hear that? Yep. This song, that dance, it looks and sounds really familiar. I think we heard this in the summer of 2022. I think we heard this in the summer of 2023. And now that it's the summer of 2024, I know this song, bar for bar. We can go band for band. I know what they're doing. But I understand it as well. Because at the end of the day, who are they trading for? Who? Who's out there? Who's available? As bad as I want something, I can't buy it if it's not for sale. Patrick Seaman, he drives a really nice BMW. I want to buy it from him. He's not selling it. It's not on the market. I can't go purchase something that's not on the shelf. But what I will say is, I truly do believe this. Now is the time to do it. Now is the time to go and get that player, to go and get that talented individual, to add to this roster for multiple reasons. But the main one is, if the Knicks are serious about adding a star, which they have shown you their cards time and time again that is the plan, because James Dolan hired Leon Rose and Worldwide Wesley because of their relationship with star players to bring star players to the Knicks. And I promise you this, as great as he is, best Knick since Patrick Ewing, the home run was not supposed to be Jalen Brunson. It was supposed to be Jalen Brunson and somebody else. The Knicks know that if they want to trade for a star, they got to do it before being a second apron team. Because once you enter that second apron, it gets sticky. It gets sticky. One, you're not allowed to use pre-existing trade exceptions. The New York Knicks have multiple. You can't take back more money in a trade. Meaning if I want to trade for a $30 million player, I got to give up $31 million. Two, you're not allowed to aggregate contracts. Meaning that if there's a player that makes $40 million out there, I have to trade for that player one for one. I have to give up $40 million to get $40 million. Also, you can't make sign-in trades if you're in the second apron. The point I'm trying to show is that once you enter that second apron, it is nearly impossible to add a superstar player unless you are giving up someone that makes superstar money. And overall, one thing I do want to give a lot of credit to for Leon Rose, Worldwide West, this front office, Gerson Rosas, and the way they've gone about things is they have showed great patience. They haven't jumped the gun. They haven't gone out there and bitten the first thing that has jumped in front of their face. They've been extremely patient. But I also believe that because of the window of where you're at right now, where you can make the trade before becoming a second apron team, it doesn't need to be an OG and an OB level trade. That was the perfect trade. Josh Hart, that was the perfect trade. It's tough to have 3 perfect trades come in your face in a row. That was crazy. Come up right in front of your desk. Oh, that was crazy. Holy shit, that was different. You're not always going to have the perfect trade be right there for you to make. So what I would say is I would rather add a talented player that's going to help this team win games right now instead of sitting on my hands and crippling myself and handcuffing my, no diddy, and when it comes to making a perfect trade. Yeah, that was Jesus. Do the Knicks make a big trade this summer? The worst part about this, as I'm recording this, I can see Patrick Seaman's face, and he started laughing immediately when I said that. Do the Knicks make a big trade this summer? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let's go back to the point of who. All right, let's compose ourselves. Grow up, Marshall. Grow up. So who's available, right? ESPN New York came up with a list of 6 players. I've done a full video on this. Go check it out. That's why you subscribe, right? Top trade targets. Devin Booker. Oh, hell yeah, let's get Devin Booker. Yeah, Devin Booker, OG Anunoby, Brunson, Randle, and Hartenstein, you're winning a championship. But you know what? Phoenix also believes that they could still compete with him, Durant, and Bradley Beal. And they didn't give up everything for Beal and Durant to kick it out of the park in 1 year. So no. Mikal Bridges. Brooklyn Nets just came out and said we're not trading Mikal Bridges. So, no, not going to happen. Kevin Durant. You think the Nets or the Suns are trading Kevin Durant after a season and a half of trial? No. They're going to continue to run it back. Their feet are in the sand on this team. Joel Embiid. We haven't heard a peep about Joel Embiid being traded. I think he likes where he's at right now. I think he believes if he's healthy, with Maxey being fully healthy, and that max salary slot that they're going to add this summer, that could be a team that competes in the East. Donovan Mitchell. Well, sounds like Donovan Mitchell actually might stay with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And honestly, I don't think that if you add Donovan Mitchell to this team, you're that much better than what you were the day before you added him. So, ESPN New York, thank you for that list. None of those are going to happen. What about these guys? Brandon Ingram. I actually do think Brandon Ingram is probably the most likely player that the Knicks could trade for. It's time for the New Orleans Pelicans to shake it up. They've got my man Herb Jones as well as Murphy, and those are going to be their wings of the future. And I think that they know that they could get good value back from Ingram while having a fallback plan of those 2 young wings and still build the roster. And while the fit for Ingram would not be perfect, the Knicks would absolutely be better if they added Brandon Ingram. Talented player. He can score, and he's one of the most underrated playmaking wings in this league. He operates in that pick and roll at an extremely high percentage, and the last couple of years, he's averaged 5 and 6 assists. So Ingram can make a lot of sense. I'm not in love with the fit, but again, I think the Knicks are better off suited now making the not perfect trade for a player that's talented like Ingram that makes the team better. Can you run Ingram at the 2? I think you can. I think you can play Brandon Ingram at the 2. And you go Brunson, Ingram, OG, Randle, and Hartenstein with your bench being Devo and Hart. I would do it, but that's just me. DeMar DeRozan. I was begging for the Knicks to trade for DeMar DeRozan back at the NBA trade deadline. But that was only if he was willing to come off the bench. Because while I think DeRozan is a better player, I think the fit of DiVincenzo at the 2 complements the starting 5 better. But you're not getting DeRozan. Who are you giving up for him? He's a free agent. You're going to do a sign and trade? You're going to give up picks for 35-year-old DeMar DeRozan? If he wants to come off the bench, sure. He's too good of a player for that right now. He just is. Karl-Anthony Towns. We did a video the other day responding to a report from an anonymous general manager in the Eastern Conference that said if the Timberwolves make Karl-Anthony Towns available, the Knicks are 100% going to be interested in him. And the Knicks will always have a little bit of interest in Cat, a big man that shoots. I bet they think that really complements Jalen Brunson, a pick-and-pop game with those two. The CAA connections, obviously, blood in, blood out. Do we want to pay Cat $50 million? Can Cat be the best player on a championship team? I think the answer is no. Can Cat be a number 2 on a championship team? I think the answer is also no. Can Cat be a number 3 on a championship team? I don't know, but if you think he can, my next question would be, can you pay your third option $50 million per year and win a championship? I do not think so. Dejounte Murray. He's actually my number 2 trade target for the Knicks this offseason that I am keeping in a realistic bucket. I got Ingram 1, and I got Murray 2. It's not the perfect fit. It isn't. But it adds another talented player that adds something to your team that you don't have. Somebody else that can run and control your offense when Jalen Brunson sits down. Murray would be cool. See someone in the chat saying that says that guy. I like Murray. Gives you another athletic player, can guard multiple positions. You'd have 48 minutes of great point guard play. I don't know if that makes you a championship team, though. And Lauri Markkanen. I like Lauri. I think Randle's a better player than Lauri, but I also think that Lauri is a better fit to this roster than Julius Randle. But the only way I'm trading Randle is if I'm getting a better fit, which Lauri might be. But I don't know if I want to trade picks and Randle for Lauri. I think Randle is just a better player. I see someone in the chat right now says, all terrible ideas. Thanks for making my point, bub. Thanks for making my point, son. The perfect player is not available. They're not. And there are no perfect players in this league. Steph's ankles are made of glass. LeBron James, he wasn't clutch. He couldn't shoot the outside shot. Now he doesn't play defense. Giannis can't shoot. Jason Tatum is soft. You could pick apart every single player. But overall, I'm going to continue to stand 10 toes down on this right here. I would rather add a talented but not perfect fit over sitting on my hands and run it back by bringing back Bojan Bogdanovic for $20 million, bringing back Precious, re-signing Alec Burks, bringing back OG and Hartenstein, enter the second apron, and then not having the flexibility to add that star that this organization has been chasing since Leon Rose and Worldwide Wes were hired. I would rather add a talented player that makes this team better, that increases the odds to win a championship, over sitting there and saying, all right, we're locked in now. We're locked in with this team. I don't want to do that. You did all this. You traded out of the 2022 NBA draft the summer you signed Brunson so you could add these picks to add a star down the line. At some point, scared money don't make money. And you hit a home run with OG. You hit a home run with Hart. How about we just hit a double? How about we just hit a double? And we had a really good player that complements this team, even if you have to overpay. Because you got 11 first-rounders in the next 7 years. You got 8 tradable first-round picks. Think about it like this. I've got 11. If I trade 4, I still have 7 over the next 7 years, which means I have a first-round pick every single year for the next 7 years. I'm not saying because you got 2 $20 bills in your pocket, you got to spend one. But if you see something you like, you might need to do it. You might need to do it. Do the Knicks make a big trade this summer? Do they do it? Do they do it? As someone in the chat is now saying no one has been chasing but fans. Yeah, the Knicks didn't spend the whole summer of 2022 trying to trade for Donovan Mitchell. Yep, did not happen. Just totally incorrect. We were lying. Do the Knicks make a big trade? What do you think? Y for yes and for no. Make sure you are following me over on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. Hit me up over there, and let's go Knicks. That was crazy.
That was awesome.
Are we cutting that out?
I say no.
I'm dead.
Think we'll give the fans a laugh.
Oh, my God. That was crazy. I couldn't control myself.
Dude, I was like, there's no way he's going to be able to wrap this back up.
Fabian Williams says, all overpaying for a superstar, you're tripping. I don't even know what you're trying to say. I don't know what you're trying to say. All overpaying for a superstar.
You know, I'm starting to get back in on Dejounte Murray. I know we got really high on him before the trade deadline, but his contract's very favorable. Like $27 million.
Oh, it's a great contract.
Like,
this is going to be the first year of his extension. He makes like $22 million a year.
Yeah, well, it goes 25, 27, 29, 31. That's a great deal.
4 years from now, making $31 million, that's not even going to be in the top 50 highest paid players in the league.
Yep. I think Murray could be. And Murray, you wouldn't need to sell the farm for either. See, would you give up Randle for him?
Like, if I'm...
Like, would you give up Randle and then you go try to attack the power forward spot? See, but like Murray does make you small.
What I would say for Murray is...
That's tough.
I wouldn't trade Randle for him. And also, why would the Hawks want Randle? You know what I'm saying? Like, if they're trading Murray, they're going one of two ways. We're restarting this whole piece with the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Or we're building around Trae Young. So technically, yes, if they are building around Trae Young, you could add Randle.
Yeah.
And you go Trae Young, Randle, and Alex Sarr as your big three, as well as Jalen Johnson and DeAndre Hunter going forward. That's a team that could probably compete pretty soon.
Yeah.
But I also think, like, if I'm...
Like, is DiVincenzo and Hart coming off the bench? Like, maybe they are. But are you running DiVincenzo or Hart with Murray and Brunson? You could.
I think you have 48 minutes at the point guard and shooting guard spot. So 48 times 2. You got 96 minutes that are split up between 3 players in Brunson, Dejounte, and Dante.
Yeah.
Brunson, Dejounte, and Dante. And then Hart is your 3-4.
He's the
He's your OG and Anunoby swing piece, and then the 96 minutes at the small forward and power forward go between those 3 guys.
I don't know. I was just looking at
like, none of these guys are perfect, but I really do believe that it's better to hit a double than strike out right now.
I mean, the Knicks have set themselves up to almost like
they're in a spot where they can overpay.
Yeah.
You got 11 first-round picks in the next 7 years. And like 10 second-round picks.
Dude, I don't know. I was just looking at that Murray contract. I'm like,
I love that contract.
That's a hell of a pickup. It's like your 3rd, 4th best player.
That's the type of money you need that guy to make.
And if he outperforms that, the Knicks are probably winning a championship. No, I think it's going to be Murray or Ingram. If I had to call it on anybody, I think it would be those 2. And also, I like the fit of Ingram. I know people don't like.
You're big, man.
You are big, and he can be that secondary playmaker.
He can. I don't think people know that.
He's a really good passer. Sees over the defense very well. His postseason this year was weird, but also the Pelicans had a weird team. And also, Marsh, you were talking about earlier about like guys coming to the Knicks and getting better.
Who'd say Ingram doesn't take a leap here?
I bet you he would. Like,
it would be the easiest he can get a shot in his life.
And I'll see, listen, he's not a leader. He's
Doesn't need
not
to
a
be.
first option. He doesn't need to be. The only thing is like, so he signed a 5-year, $158 million. So next year he's making $36 million.
36 next year.
Next year, and then he's an unrestricted free agent. See, like I would send Randle for him. I would send Randle and both of your first-round picks this season. Where you're just kind of betting on Ingram being a better fit next.
Why
to
do they
Brunson.
want Randle though?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they actually would. That would be the last player they would want.
Trying to look up this stat real quick. Give me a second.
Yeah, I mean, so he's making 36. Just trying to think, like, what type of deal the Pelicans would want.
In the pick and roll as a ball handler, Brandon Ingram averages .91 points per possession.
Pretty good.
That's better than T.J. McConnell. That's better than Anthony Edwards. It's better than Shea. It's better than Jamal Murray. It's better than Tyrese Maxey. It's better than D'Angelo Russell. Better than Dante DiVincenzo, Reggie Jackson, C.J. McCollum, Cole Anthony. The guy can run the pick and roll as the ball handler. He is a two guard.
He is a two.
He's just an oversized two guard because he's not really a three.
Could you filter that to spot up?
Spot up as in,
If
yeah,
you're on that?
yeah.
I'm just curious. Because, like Ingram, the thing is with him is also, like, even though he hasn't been known for a defensive player in his career, like, just having that length, having another guy to throw at, because then realistically, you're going against the Celtics. You got two dudes who you feel comfortable going head-to-head against Tatum and Brown, then you're just hoping Brunson dominates a backcourt matchup.
It's not showing when I command F it on here.
Might have to filter it to all.
Yeah, I got it changed to all. I don't know if it's... Oh, it's playoffs. I'm sorry. I didn't click back regular season. Give me 1 second. So points per possession on spot ups?
Yeah. I'm just curious how... That's normally like attacking closeouts.
Yeah. Brandon Ingram is 1.08.
Okay.
Which comes out to about the 60th percentile.
Not bad. Thoughts on this trade idea? Trae Young and Mitchell Robinson to the Suns. Booker to the Knicks. Randle to the Hawks. I think it's a little 2K-ish trade idea.
Well, I don't even see who said this. Oh, Jake.
I don't know if it makes sense for all three teams.
That ain't happening. I don't hate the thought of it. It's just not happening.
I do think you're onto something, though, with this new CBA making the offseason not as entertaining.
They've shot... They cut off their... What's the saying? You cut off your nose to spite your face or something like that?
Yeah.
That's what they did.
It's like that's what made the NBA so interesting, is because they dominated June and July.
Yep.
And now, like, there's just nothing going down. Can Ingram really convert to a shooting guard, though? I think he can play in spots.
I think his game almost fits more of a guard than a wing.
Yeah. He's just tall.
Like, he's just tall. Like,
it's like a Josh Hart.
And also, like, we don't ask our two guard with Jalen Brunson to do what other two guards do.
Yeah.
Like, the ball is in Brunson's hands.
Yeah. And
we just showed you that Brandon Ingram's one of the better pick and roll players in this league.
No, I think Ingram would be a great move this offseason for the Knicks. Like, if you could somehow keep Randle, but that's the thing, like, what? So you got to get the $36 million.
It would be Bogey and Mitch.
Bogey and Mitch.
Bogey, Mitch, and they probably want Deuce in a pick or two.
Would you do Bogey, Mitch, Deuce, one of the picks this year, and they probably want an unprotected pick for the next season?
Yeah, I'm doing that.
I would do that too.
I'm doing that. Yes, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I can't depend on Mitch.
Can't depend on him.
I can't. You got picks to blow. And, like, it hurts to give up Deuce.
Yeah.
Let's fucking Brandon Ingram.
It's Brandon Ingram. Like, Deuce is great. But Deuce is not holding up a trade.
For Brandon Ingram.
If the Knicks are a second apron team, I feel like that's not being talked about enough.
If you re-sign Hartenstein, you re-sign OG, and you pick up the player option or team option for Bogey, you are a second apron team.
Wow.
And you still got to extend Brunson, and you still got to extend Randle.
Like a starting lineup of, I mean, you probably have to start Ingram. Like Brunson, Ingram, OG, Randle, and Hartenstein. You can compete with Boston.
I think so, man.
And then you can get super small. Like I know Tibbs will always want a 5 in there, but you get super small running Randle, OG, Ingram, Dante, and Brunson. If you lose Mitchell Robinson, go get a guy like Drummond.
Look, man, Ingram shot 37% from 3 on catch and shoots last year.
Taking that.
Only 2.5 attempts, so I think that would go up. But I also think about it, seems like he's catching that piece on the weak side, hard closeout, pump fake, put it on the deck one time, spray it anywhere else, or go attack or pull up from 17.
And that's his game, too. It's just getting that one dribble pull-up.
His pull-up 2-point percentage on 7 attempts per game, 48%. He knocks down his pull-up 2 at 7 a game at 48%. Imagine him on the weak side on a Brunson kick, pump fake, pull-up, one-time bucket.
Yeah. And there's really no guard in that.
No, because you have to bleed that closeout.
7'3" wingspan, like.
I think Ingram's my guy.
Yeah, I think
for this summer, I think Ingram's the guy.
If we're talking realistic, like yes,
Kevin
Durant. Like,
we're not living in La La Land here.
Ingram makes sense. Oh, do you know his agency? Is he?
I don't think he. I don't know. I don't think he's CAA. Jeff Schwartz and Jordan Gretter. I don't know who they are. Excel Sports Management. So as long as it ain't clutch. Look, is it perfect? No. But like, what about? I don't know. Look, is the perfect trade out there? No. Is the perfect player available for the Knicks? No. But again, would I rather add a talented player that's going to help this team or just run it back and have a 38-year-old bogey or whatever he is off the bench? I love Mitch. I love Deuce. If I can use them in picks to get someone that is a top 5 player on this team, I'm doing it.
He's also 26 years old. Like,
right in the timeline.
When he's 27, 28, like that's going to be his best version. I think next year will probably be the best Ingram we see.
And who's to say that, like, Randle's on this team forever? And then you could bounce back OG 2 of the 4, and then you have a 6'8", small forward, power forward, and you bring Dante back to the 2. And then you're spread out, and you're an elite offense. Like, exactly, Bodega. The window is now. The window is now.
There is no more wait.
There's no more wait. Because if you wait and you just run it back, you are limiting your options of the way you could build this team. All righty, let's close the show with a mailbag. Last call to get your questions in. Hashtag Knicks or Super Chat to get on to today's show. I want to answer questions for you. Yeah, Gabriel, you could. Brunson's like 27. Ingram will be 26. Hart and Devo are that same age. Hartenstein's 26.
He's got a ton of experience, too. This isn't a guy who's never played playoff basketball. Did struggle this past season, but the one year against the Nets, or against the Suns, when he took them to 6 games, he was great.
Yep.
And also, I don't think, like, the Pelicans' offense was necessarily so easy for him. Like, you had CJ McCollum, you had Zion. Like,
he is the number one player that teams go in saying we have to stop Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, and, like, with the Knicks, it would be he's the second choice. If you have Randle, he might be the third. if you guys could help us out, hashtag Knicks, get more questions in there.
Shout out Marco. Shout out KB. If y'all could, drop a question in the comments section. Use hashtag Knicks. If you want to guarantee your spot, you can send in a super chat. Yeah, I mean, look, it's not perfect, but
it's also like these first-round picks for the Knicks, these are going to be in the mid-20s for the next 5 years.
you think Tibbs is adding rookies to this rotation?
No. You guys know, I know Knicks haven't had a lot of rookies to play under Tibbs, but, like, he will not.
They haven't made a draft pick under Leon Rose yet.
Really? Wow.
Don't quote me on that. Hold on.
At Tibbs, I mean, back in the Chicago days, like, he was known for not playing rookies.
They didn't make a pick last year, first-round pick last year. They didn't make a first-round pick the year before. That'll be 2021. I guess that was his first year. He drafted Grimes that year. Last 2 years, they haven't made a pick in the first round.
Yeah.
Haven't made a pick in the first round the last 2 years. All right. Hashtag Knicks or Super Chat. We appreciate y'all if you got some questions in there. But let's dive into it. It's mailbag time here on Knicks Now by Chat Sports. We're going to be answering questions from subscribers. So if you didn't get your question on today's show, it's your own dang fault. So change it. Hit that sub button right now. Turn the notifications on and join us next Friday as we do go live every Friday. Gabriel, what's up, bro? Says, what's the ideal trade package? Specific details of players and picks for Brandon Ingram or Dejounte Murray. I think for both of those players, it's somewhat of a similar deal. Ingram's closer to $35 million per year, where Dejounte Murray is closer to $25 million per year. So I think the only thing that will necessarily be a little bit different in those is the money matching aspect. But I think at minimum, if I am either of those teams and I'm not getting one of the core members of the New York Knicks rotation, it's going to start with Mitchell Robinson, Bojan Bogdanovic, Deuce McBride, and first-round picks, right? Like, you're going to have to give up Bogey's salary to match him probably just about everything. Mitchell Robinson's salary as well is also a coveted piece that other teams could be looking for. I think that a team like the New Orleans Pelicans would love a guy like Mitchell Robinson. I even think a young team, maybe like the Hawks, could use that or reroute that, as they do already have some centers, and they're probably going to draft Sarr in this year's draft. But I think for Murray, it's closer to Bogey and McBride and more picks, whereas Ingram is Bogey, Robinson, Deuce, and a pick or two. My question to the real ones is this. Who would you rather have on the Knicks next year? Is it Brandon Ingram or is it Dejounte Murray? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. NY2AZ, what's up? We can't get Bridges. How about Lauri Markkanen? My thought on Lauri is this. Well, I think we first have to start with my thoughts on Randle, which is I'm only trading Julius Randle if A, I get a better player, which I think Randle is a better player than Lauri Markkanen. 2-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Star, was going to be 3-time All-NBA again this year. I think Randle is better. But I would trade Randle for a less talented player if it was a better fit. And I do think Lauri is a better fit at that power forward position, in my humble opinion, for the New York Knicks. He just stretches the floor a little bit better. He's bigger. He can play some center for you. So to kind of wrap that up and put it in a bow, I would say that the only way I'm trading for Lauri is if I'm trading Randle for him straight up. Maybe a pick. But I don't think that Danny Ainge is going to be doing that. And I don't want to do business with Danny Ainge because Danny Ainge is only doing the deal if he kicks you in the dirt. And I bet that they would say, we want Randall, Deuce, and 4 first-round picks. And I just simply am not doing that. PK Sports, will the Knicks be a top 5 team next year? The Knicks are one of 3 teams to make it to the second round of the playoffs each of the last 2 seasons. It's the Boston Celtics, it's the Denver Nuggets, and it's the New York Knicks. When it comes to being a top 5 team, are you basing that off record? Are you basing that off chance to win the NBA Finals? I and the Knicks will once again be a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. I don't know how I can factor the Western Conference into that, but I'll say this: the Knicks are finals contenders. Knicks are finals contenders, and almost anything but an Eastern Conference Finals appearance next year, after losing the second round twice with home court advantage, is somewhat of a disappointing year. That's where I'm at on that. Marco Daniel, what about an offseason of re-signing iHeart and OG? Love that. Dumping Bogey, sign Oubre, and sign a backup point guard as well as drafting a bigger wing. Did you watch my video on the 6 moves the Knicks need to make to beat the Boston Celtics? Because that's exactly what I said I would do. Yes, you re-sign OG. Yes, you re-sign iHeart. I would then non-guarantee / waive Bogey, save that $17 million, and then have the full mid-level exception at my disposal and look at players like Tyus Jones, Derek Jones Jr., Royce O'Neal, Kelly Oubre, Kyle Anderson, Najee Marshall, Sadiq Bey. Yeah. And then use the biannual exception for a veteran point guard like Beverly or like Chris Paul or Kyle Lowry. If you could add Oubre, Lowry, and draft a player in the offseason, I think you're better. That's if a star trade's not available. Got to find different ways and have different plans. But yeah, I'd be cool with signing Kelly Oubre. What about you? Would you sign Kelly Oubre to the New York Knicks for the full mid-level exception? That's 4 years, around $55 million in totality. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Gabriel, what's up? Should the NBA put in a franchise tag? I'd say no. No, because I think player movement is one of the most intriguing parts of the NBA offseason, and I actually think that the new CBA is limiting that, and that limits the excitement and the offseason engagement from fans. I think the NBA thought they had something with this new CBA that was going to make the league more parity, more even. The league was already like that. We're going to have 6 different NBA champions in a row this season. You didn't need to imply these extremely strict ramifications. And the reason I would say no is because a rookie that gets drafted in the first round is in team control for 4 seasons, and then they're already restricted free agents, which means I can match any contract they sign. So think, for instance, if you draft a player in the first round, they're on your team for 4 years. Then they go out and sign an offer with another team for another 4 years. That means you can control a player for 8 seasons. You don't need a franchise tag. That would be my thought on that. Justin, so what's up, Marshall? What superstar would you trade for? And if there's not one available, what player would you want to add to provide efficient scoring for the Knicks to improve the team more? What superstar would you trade for? Well, there's a lot of superstars that I would trade for, Justin. But let's boil it down to the fact of realistic players. One, I don't think there's a single superstar that is available via trade. My definition of a superstar is someone that can be a 1A or a 1B on a championship team. Which one of those guys is available across the NBA right now? I don't know of any. 2, if there's not one available, what player would you want to add to provide efficient scoring for the Knicks to improve the team? If I'm looking at the starting lineup and players that are available, maybe a guy like Brandon Ingram. Maybe a guy like Dejounte Murray. You want to talk about bench pieces? I don't know. I like Royce O'Neal as a mid-level exception target, but he's not necessarily a scorer, but he does it efficiently while also defending at 6'6". I like Oubre. I think Oubre would be a good fit for this team. Rough, rugged, defense, athleticism, can score. There's not really any superstars available. There's not. I'm looking at Murray and I'm looking at Ingram. Coming off the bench, I'd look at Malcolm Brogdon. Can you trade Bogey and a pick for Brogdon to be your point guard off the bench? There's just not a whole lot of get out there. Shipmaster Kyle, what's up, man? Says, if the Knicks could run it back, would you be okay with doing that? No. Because it will cripple you going forward. If you re-sign OG and IR, which the Knicks should absolutely do, and I'm praying that they do, and then you guarantee Bogey, you're a second apron team. And that makes the way that you're going to go about trying to build this team extremely difficult. And that's also if you re-sign Precious and you re-sign Alec Burks. No, I don't want to run it back. Because teams that run it back get worse. Look at the Denver Nuggets. Luis, look at the Miami Heat. They ran it back. Couldn't even get out of the first round. And they tried to make major trades at the deadline. Doesn't work that way. You're not always going to find a Josh Hart and an OG and an OB trade mid-season that propels you into one of the best teams in the NBA. Because if you could, everybody would do it. Luis, how does the draft class look? Because if there is one good player in the top 3, then we should consider that. Trading up into the top 3? Not possible. Not possible unless you're giving up. I don't. How do you get in the top 3? And who do you want in the top 3? I think this draft lacks top-end talent, but I do think it's above average draft in terms of project role players. I don't know if that's the way I want to describe it, but I do think there's players in this draft that can be quality role players, but they still need developing. This is a draft that features more 3rd and 4th year college players that are supposed to be able to play right away in the NBA. The only guy I'd really want to trade up for is Reed Shepherd. I don't really like the top-end talent in this draft. I don't. I don't know. Knicks have 2 picks in the first round. I'd be a little shocked if they made both those picks. I do. Maybe they trade out of the first round in totality and push their picks down the line to have more draft capital to not trade for a star. Make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on IG. Hit me up over there, and let's go Knicks.
Yeah, nobody in this draft where it's like the Knicks need to go trade up for this guy.
Yeah, who is that?
Maybe if you want to get De Silva at 15, 16, you just send both and then you get up there, but...
Yeah, there are guys that I would target in that mid first round range. I think Dalton Connect would be a good piece for this team.
If Connect somehow fall into 12, which I
then you
doubt
go up
it.
and get him.
Yeah.
I don't really have any urge to though move inside the top 5.
Yeah.
Knicks are trying to win the NBA Finals next year. Let's get players that can help them do that. All righty, we're going to sign off for today. Been live for an hour and 40 minutes. Love hanging out with everybody. Shout out to you guys. We'll have videos throughout the weekend. We'll be live next Friday and multiple videos Monday through Friday. So subscribe, turn your notifications on, and let's go Knicks.